Well, good morning. Today is day 17, and I'm just leaving this little town. It's about 7:30 in the morning, cold again, and I heard through the grapevine that the Pyrenees snowed. It snowed up where I went through 2 weeks ago. When I went through, it was warm, almost hot, and so the poor people starting their hike now thinking that they were getting away from the weather, they got some snow. So I had a great night in this little town here. I don't think there's very many people live here anymore. Seems like the only reason for the town is for the peregrinos. At any rate, I'm off to what I think is going to be a really nice hotel today. Short day for me today. I'm only hiking about 20K, and it's about 12 miles. Not too bad. So I felt kind of down yesterday when I got in. Just tired and kind of wore out, but this morning we got a great night's sleep. I'm rejuvenated, and off we go. So let's see what adventures we have today. Buen camino. This is a family of 4 with 2 small children walking the entire Camino. They're 7 and 9. The shoes look okay, but they're beginning to go. These hobbit houses are actually occupied. Those are chimneys on top of the hill. The houses are built into the mountainside, and they are amazing. This quote attributed to Socrates may be a little far-fetched, but the second bar is cool, I guess. Here's the second bar. After passing out of the province of Palencia, across the bridge into the province of León, we come across the Hermitage of the Virgin of the Bridge. The origins of this hermitage are in the 12th century. On the Camino De Santiago are these statues. The figures representing King Alfonso VI and Bernardo de Ceredad, important benefactors of Sahagún. Flanking a 6-meter strip on the ground, it represents the equidistant point between Roncesvalles and Santiago de Compostela. I was a little bit nervous when I pulled up to this hotel. It was out in the middle of nowhere on a dirt road, and the only building there was the hotel. It almost looked like a ruin. The whole thing was a little bit sketchy. I had to bang on the door to get somebody to answer, and once inside, all the lights were turned off. Once I got inside, I was surprised to find out that the inside of this hotel was really beautiful. Although there was hardly anybody there, I felt very comfortable.
I was the only one in the dining room for dinner, but I had a really great steak with potatoes. Time to get some rest. The taxi's picking me up outside at 6:30 in the morning to take me back to where I was on the Camino.
Well, good morning. It's Monday, day 18. So I had a bit of an adventure yesterday. The hotel that I booked was actually 6 miles out of town, so I had to take a taxi to the hotel. I got there, the door was locked, there was nobody around, and I was mad. I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I banged on the door, and a lady yelled out the window and came and opened the door for me. The place was actually really nice, but hardly anybody was there. There was a couple that were biking the Camino, and there was one other man who was walking the Camino. At any rate, I had actually a great night's sleep, and the place was nice, quiet, and I had 2 good meals, and they did my laundry. So, turned out okay. And I got a taxi back. So here I am back on the Camino, back right where I started, and so I didn't have to skip any of the walk. So I'll talk to you later. Buen Camino.
I saw this vandalism all over the trail. This is Welsh for Wheels Forever. Shame on you. I'm guessing that the climate in Spain must be perfect for growing roses. Everywhere I go are these beautiful rose bushes.
As you can see, it's cloudy and overcast today. The wind is picking up, and I'm worried that it might rain. But also, as you can see, it's pretty hard to get lost on the Camino de Santiago.
This part of the Camino follows along a road, and they planted trees at regular intervals. I'm assuming that's for some future shade for future pilgrims. Amazingly, somebody has knitted these skirts to go around the tree trunks. Isn't that crazy? I got into the albergue and I was given a top bunk. Well, that's okay. My feet are starting to hurt pretty good. I think I'm going to have to get new shoes.
Well, good morning. It is day 19, and we're just leaving the albergue. It was a nice place. The The lady that ran the place had dreadlocks and was kind of hippie, only she was probably in her mid-20s. So this morning, I'm walking with Jeff. Say hello, Jeff.
Hello, everyone.
And we're just leaving. We're on our way to Leon today. So a little bit about the Camino. I really haven't talked about what this is all about. And if I get this wrong, please don't yell at me. But this is a 1,000-year-old pilgrimage. And it started, legend has it, that they found the remains of St. James on the place where we're going right now. They were miraculously found by the light of a star. And that's the reason for the Compostela, for the cathedral there. So about 1,000 years ago, the then Pope made a dispensation that if you had a pilgrimage to the place, then you could skip purgatory. If I'm getting this wrong, I'm not Catholic, so I apologize. At any rate, for 1,000 years, people have been making this pilgrimage. It was most popular during the medieval times. And I understand there was as many as 250,000 people that did this during medieval ages. It fell off in popularity up until about the 1980s and 90s. When it became popular, they marked the route. And today, we probably have more than 250, probably more closely 350 to 400,000 people doing it. This is supposed to be the shoulder season where we don't have a lot of people, and that didn't happen. I understand that they were leaving St. John about 500 people a day. And so that's 500 people a day, all vying for the same beds, and there aren't 500 beds. So that's been the problem. At any rate, more about that later. I'll talk to you later. Bon Camino.
Today we'll be entering the city of Leon. The Kingdom of Leon, established in 910, was an ancient territory with a great dynasty of kings that would become kings of Spain after the union with the Kingdom of Aragon. The counties of Portugal and Castile were born as divisions of the ancient Kingdom of Leon that remained independent until the union with Castile again. It currently has a city population of about 125,000 inhabitants in a metropolitan area of 203,000. That was as of 2018. Here Jeff's about to get water at one of the many public fountains along the Camino. But of course we're entering Leon, so there's the ubiquitous McDonald's. Well, we've made it to Leon. Leon was founded in the 1st century BC by the Roman legion, which served under Caesar Augustus during the Cantabrian Wars. This was around 29 to 19 BC. This was the final stage of the Roman conquest of Hispania. About 100 years later, in the year 74 AD, the legion, now recruited from Hispanics, settled in a permanent military camp that was the origin of the city. Its modern name is derived from the city's Latin name, Leo. Although there was lots to see in Leon, we only had time to tour the cathedral. I regret not spending more time here. Originally, on the current site of the cathedral, the Roman legion had built thermal baths, which were said to be larger in size than the current cathedral. This was discovered during an excavation. What we see today was the third iteration of the cathedral, which began construction in 1205 and completed in 1302. Over the centuries, restoration and additions have taken place, including restoration efforts in this century. The Cathedral of Leon is one of the most beautiful Gothic cathedrals in Spain. It has 19,300 square feet of stained glass windows. It's something to behold. At one point while I was touring the cathedral, a young couple came up to me and asked me if I spoke English and wanted to know if I was a tour guide. Does this face look like a tour guide? Jeff and I had toured the cathedral separately, but later on we met up again for dinner. We were staying in different locations, and Jeff was staying in a real nice hotel. That hotel had a spa, which we took advantage of. I stayed in a nice modern hostel with my own little cubicle.
Well, good morning. So I'm in the city of Leon and I'm just getting started this morning. It's in the high 30s, so it's another cool morning. Apparently, this was an area where a Roman legion was billeted, and subsequently the name Leon is a derivative of legion. Yeah, that's the reason for the name for this city. Today, I think I'm leaving the Mesetas and going on to the next phase. They break this thing up into three sections. The first third is for your body, and that's because it takes that long to condition your body to be able to do such a thing. That's when everybody's falling out and having blisters and breaking things and whatnot. The second part, they say, is for your mind, and that's going over the Mesetas. That's when you have nothing but time to think. This last part I'm starting today is supposed to be for your soul. So we'll see if we can mess with my soul. At any rate, off I go again today. I'm walking alone today, and it should be a fun adventure. So I'll talk to you later. Buen camino.
This was a surprise. I found this hospitality stand right in an industrial area that I was walking through. Everything was by donation, and the guy running it was very pleasant. I had a nice rest here. Seems like there's a lot of podiatrists on the Camino. I found my albergue for the night, and lucky me, they had private rooms. So I've walked over 300 miles so far. Time to get some rest. Tomorrow I'm on to Astoria.
So good morning. As you can see, I've had to go to the Puffy. It's really cold this morning. It was 1 degree Celsius, which I think is like mid-30s, maybe a little more. And as you can hear, I'm still walking next to this road. So I want to talk about coffee. So at home, I start my morning with a pot of coffee, and I drink that coffee all day. And as much coffee as I want. In America, we have drip coffee or maybe percolator coffee, and you can have an espresso. In Spain, they have espresso. And if you want a bigger coffee, you can ask for an Americano, where what they do is they take an espresso, and they add some hot water to it. So that's what I've been having. Most everybody here will order a café con leche, which is milk and coffee. That's basically what they like to drink in Spain. So this morning at the albergue I was staying at, the man asked me if I wanted a café con leche, and I said no. I wanted a café Americano, and he said grande, and I said sí. And he came back with the biggest cup of coffee I've had in Spain. I was so excited. Well, that's my story for this morning. I really enjoyed this place I stayed at. It was in one of these little small towns in between the stages, and I had a private room with a bath. The dinner was the pilgrim's meal. They have a pilgrim's meal, and they're almost always the same. It'll be some chicken, potatoes, salad, and a dessert. This place, and wine. This place, it was as much wine as you could drink. And then after all was served, he came back with some liqueur, after dinner liqueur, which I wasn't expecting, which was really good. So at any rate, that's what's happening with me. I feel pretty good still. I'm on to Astorga this morning, which is supposed to be a really pretty town. So I'll talk to you later. Buen camino. This is Puente de Abrigo, and this is a medieval bridge that was built actually on the foundations of a Roman bridge. So this is a pretty famous bridge. Specifically, there was a story of a medieval knight who, in order to get out of his promise of love to a woman, vowed to fight and break 300 lances from other knights defending this bridge. So he did that and got out of his promise. But what's really interesting is that this is thought to be the inspiration for Cervantes' Don Quixote, or at least part of that novel. This occurred in 1434, I think, if my memory is correct. I can't remember the man's name, but it's pretty well documented that that did occur. Anyway, very cool bridge.
This elaborate looking matrix is how you get over the railroad tracks. They were getting ready for a car show today. The day ended with a good meal and a private room for the night.
Well, good morning. So I'm just leaving Astorga, and today's going to be a little bit of a rest day. So I'm only walking 10K, about 6 miles, to another hotel. So that's 2 hotels in a row. Last night I stayed in a 4-star hotel, which has been unusual for this trip. By Spanish standards, it was a expensive place. By American standards, it was pretty inexpensive. I think it cost me about $70 US, and meals were about 20 for a really, really nice meal. At any rate, so I'm going, like I said, 10K. I think I'm probably not even going to leave the town. I think this is just a suburb. So I may take a taxi back and tour Astorga some more. So today, need a little rest. Everybody, you notice as you're talking to people, they're getting a little bit weary, and me included. So it's a good idea to take a little bit of a rest once in a while. At any rate, I'll talk to you later. Buen camino. Oh, did I mention that I got a massage? It was great. 30 minutes, 30 euros. Jose beat the stuffing out of me, and it felt so good. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know.
The red line through the sign means you're leaving that town. These markers are counting down to Santiago. That's how far I have to go. I was mistaken about this place being a suburb of Astorga. It's way out in the country. Those are some big heavy boots they left there on that sign. Check out this place I stayed. It's a 300-year-old house that was renovated into a rural hotel. It's clearly the nicest place I've stayed so far. And what a view. During the renovation, they decided to keep the oven up in the upper right-hand corner of this photo. Then the rest of the room they made into kind of a living area, dining room. This is where I waited while my room was being made ready. Staying in this hotel was more like staying in somebody's home than it was in a hotel, and the owners were just the most hospitable people. This is another one of those places that by seeing it from the outside, you might just pass it by. But I tell you what, if you have the opportunity, stay here. stayed in this swan room.
Well, good morning. So my rest day went great. That town had a total population of 50 people. So there was no sightseeing to be done there, which was probably good because that meant I got a lot of rest. The place I stayed was probably the nicest bed and breakfast I've ever been in, and I guarantee you it was the nicest one on the trail. They had breakfast at 7 this morning, and I told them that I had to leave by 6. So the man first said, well, I'll make you a sandwich you can take with you. I said, that'd be fine. And then later they said, we're just gonna leave food out for you. I mean, you can have it whenever. I said, oh, great. So this morning I got up, there was a table set with a fancy spread of food and a sign that said, John Hudson, Buen Camino. It's just fantastic. So I've been walking since 6 a.m. and it's just now getting light enough so that I could film. I'm going on today to the hills of Galicia. And so I'm off the flats. I'm going to be walking some hills today. Got a big day today, 34 kilometers. And up and over a mountain. So I'll talk to you later. Buen Camino.
Wait a second, are those teepees? These fellows are from England, more 5-minute friends.
So today is a little more solemn of a day than usual. Today I pass over the Cruz de Ferro, and it's a tradition on the Camino to place a stone that you brought from home at the foot of the Cruz de Ferro, which is the Iron Cross. I'm not sure how long back this goes, but it's a pretty famous tradition. So you're supposed to bring a stone from your house, and it's supposed to represent your burdens, and you're supposed to give up your burdens at the Cruz de Ferro. So here's my stone. I brought this from home. This is a stone that my daughter Amy used to collect these little shiny rocks when she was a little girl. And so I thought it was appropriate, representing my family, to bring this stone here. As far as burdens, I don't particularly agree with that. My philosophy is that wherever you are in life, you've put yourself there by decisions that you've made. And so I have no burdens. Everything I have, whether good or bad, is something that I did to myself, that I made those decisions to put myself in that position. So you can also do this in remembrance of loved ones who have passed. Actually, you can do whatever you want. So for me, the first thing I would like to say is I would like to dedicate this to my lovely wife, Jan, and for her patience and support in all these different crazy adventures that I tend to like to do. She never gave me, never actually said no to me about anything, except for maybe that motorcycle I wanted to buy. At any rate, thank you, Jan, for allowing me to do this. I really, truly appreciate it, and I love you. Secondly, back in the day, before COVID, one of my kids mentioned that they didn't remember their grandfather because he had passed while they were just a baby. And I thought that was really terrible. So during COVID lockdown, I started researching my family tree, and because I realized I didn't know much about my grandparents and great-grandparents. And I found out all kinds of interesting stuff. And in the process, I ended up writing a book, which is available on Amazon, by the way. And the book is called Climbing My Family Tree. And I didn't write it really as a book to sell on Amazon. The reason it's on Amazon is it's free to publish on Amazon. So consequently, I'm going to dedicate this to my mom and dad, Don and Maureen Hudson, who were members of the Greatest Generation, and also my grandparents and my great-grandparents and all those that went before me. At any rate, in a little bit, I got about 5 miles to go. I'm going to be placing this stone at the foot of the Cruz de Ferro. Thanks for listening.
The hike down from the Cruz de Ferro to Molina Seca was a pretty tough hike, but Molina Seca was just a beautiful little town. The bridge across the river was gorgeous, and I had probably the best hamburger I've ever had in my life. Look at this thing. It has a fried egg on top of a veal and pork hamburger with all the trimmings.
Good morning. So I'm just leaving Molina Seca. It's about 7:30. Had a great night's sleep. Slept about 9.5 hours after my 22-mile day yesterday. This town is just a charming little town. I got lucky on this one. Stayed in a hostel, so I had a private room and a bath. Nothing fancy, but the bed was good and I slept well. And there's a taxi about to get me. At any rate, I'm going to walk through the town of Proferrado. I hope I pronounced that right. And then on to my stop tonight. I'm only going about 20K today, so that's about 12 miles. Shouldn't be too hard. Should get there by noon. So anyway, that's it for today so far. See what adventures await me today. So, see you later. Buen camino.
Yes, I did butcher that name. It was Ponferrada. I asked somebody to take my picture in front of this sign. Yes, that's me on the left.
So this is a castle of the Knights Templar. It's really amazing, huh? I'm in the town of Proferrado. Unfortunately, it's Sunday morning. I think I'm going to be able to tour the castle.
Can't you just imagine the Knights Templar riding up that ramp into that castle? Burger King delivery in Spain.
Good morning. So it's day 25. Can you believe it? I'm just leaving Cacabelos, which was kind of a cute little town. It was wine country, which I was not expecting. And let's see, I'm going over this river. Which is kind of pretty. It's 7:30 in the morning and it's not nearly as cold. So I think that cold snap is over. It's about maybe 50 degrees. So I don't need all the heavy coat and whatever. Today's going to be 27 kilometers, I think. So long day for me today. Tomorrow, another long day. But it should be more interesting. There's lots more to see along this route than there was on Mesetas. And I can already tell it's going to be a beautiful day. At any rate, I'll talk to you later, and buen camino.
hard to see in this photo, but this is an albergue with an attached fishing pond. Unfortunately, I didn't stay there or get to fish.